never starting forever. So today we are going deeper into self-honesty and the silence that accompanies it. So we are talking of getting into this mode of thinking. We have been saying that for a long time that we have never loved anyone. And if there is a process and a very deep process by which you will begin to love yourself, it is this. Self-honesty is actually a great love of yourself for yourself. Because now what you are saying, I want to see, for example, I want to see my physical self and look the most beautiful. So I'm not going to hide anything from me. Oh, there's a black spot here. I will take care of that. So you make a note. So that's called self-honesty. Oh, my toe is a little bit crooked and it should be a little bit straight. Self-honesty. So you're just as you examine your body and you don't feel anything negative about it, self-honesty is now examining your judgments, your opinions, your perceptions, and saying, this is a judgment. Okay. So this is the thing. I must say, I have this. I have this. I have this. So we are coming to a point where we examine or put our light on every thought that passes through our mind without identifying ourselves with it. So when you have same thing, let us again take the example of the body. You have a crooked toe. The toe is crooked. You are not crooked. It's like that. And so the thoughts that you have, the emotions that you have, the emotions are bad or right. The thoughts that you have are bad or good, right or wrong. You are not right or wrong, good or bad. You are forever the same. So therefore, do not be afraid to go deeper and deeper and deeper, or after you finish the outward scan of your body, then you take a microscope because you really want your body to be perfect. And you examine yourself. Okay, oh, this I did not see. So self-honesty, you're now going to not stop, but constantly keep on cleaning yourself more and more. And as you do that, you will begin to love yourself more and more. Why do you clean yourself? Because you love yourself. If you did not clean yourself, or you did not clean, you would neither have love for yourself, and it also shows you don't care for the world because you're a smelly brat.
But Father, is it necessary for us to pick ourselves apart like that? We don't have to do that to ourselves to love ourselves, do we?
Because you love yourself, you do it. You don't have to do it in order to love yourselves. But if you love yourself, then you'll do it. If you don't love yourself, as the example I gave you, the bird poops on you. So if you don't love yourself, you'll go with the poop. and you'll say, I don't know, why those people are keeping far from me? Oh yeah, you're smelling. So then you begin to realize, I'm smelling. Okay. And I don't know. And if you say, it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. But you say, I'm smelling, and I love myself, so I'm going to remove the source of the bad odor that I'm causing. And with that, you remove it because you love yourself. You don't remove it because in order to love yourself. Got that? So don't put the cart before the horse.
What if you love yourself the way you are?
Who?
What if you love yourself the way you are?
Yeah, so you can love yourself. I want to finish this. So let's love yourself the way you are. So your self or your which self you are talking about. So if it is a self that is dominated by the ego, we can keep on loving your ego and get into a mess with the whole world. Or you can say, I love myself, and I'm going to, in honesty, I'm going to find out what's happening in both these spheres. Why? Why? Because that is the greatest act of love I can do to myself and to the world. So what you are saying is, the greatest act of love that you can do to yourself is becoming pure image of God. That's the greatest love you can do to yourself. And all that is not godly, no. And you're not in this, there is no judgment, there is no condemnation, there is no guilt, there is nothing. As I told you last week, I feel like punching him on the nose. That's a thought. So, what I'm saying is, you accept yourself as you are, but not your thoughts, and not your emotions, and not your perceptions. Can you? Therefore, the whole thing, right from the first lesson of awakening, the second lesson of getting rid of fear, and the whole thing that we went on how to get into enlightenment, etc., is getting a distance and purifying ourselves more and more, and in purifying ourselves, the love for the self abounds much more than ever before. So actually, you're now in the fourth story. When we began the class, you were on the ground floor. Remember, I gave you that analogy of the ground floor and the first floor and the second floor. You're now on the fourth floor. You cannot compare yourself on the fourth floor and the ground floor as the same. Yes, she had a question.
Vanity. Can you relate this to vanity, or when does it dip into vanity and how does it stay? How does this, oh, my fingernails are short or whatever. How does it relate to vanity or staying out of that frame of mind?
No. So you have actually gone on the opposite side of the coin. It has nothing to do with vanity. Nothing to do. So what we are doing is, we are clearing our mind. I only gave an analogy of the body. What we are doing is a self-honesty with the thoughts that are percolating through your mind. A self-honesty with the emotions that are going through, and both these that are happening constantly in your life. Now you have to disidentify yourself from them and say, this is a thought I had, neither good nor bad, and it doesn't make me good or bad. The only thing you give to every thought, the only thing that you give to every thought and to every emotion, because your thoughts, you have no control. You might have seen now for 2 years you're trying to keep track of your thoughts. Your thoughts, you have no control. You don't know from where the heck they come and where the heck they go. But as I said, if you look at yourself as the sky and the clouds going underneath, then you have no problem. The sky doesn't identify itself. But now we are on the fourth story of the spiritual edifice that you are climbing. Now you begin to see the thoughts and emotions and your perceptions. Just see them without judgment, without condemnation, and without identifying yourself with them. Because you have a thought, and the only thing you can give to the thought, which is your personal thing that you give to the thought, is your judgment. Only judgment comes, the thought comes, goes. So suppose you had a thought, so, oh, that woman in the window, every day she looks at me. Maybe I can have a chance with her. Then I say, oh, you nut. That's a thought. It's not me. I don't become a rapist or, a bloodthirsty or a sex-thirsty man. But that's a thought. And then you laugh at the thought and it's over. it's over. But then, if I take a thought, and as I said, the thought is like a deflated balloon. Thought is like a deflated balloon passing through your head. Now, what do you do to the deflated balloon? You pump it with your emotions, you pump it with your energy and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So you can't even see your own face and you can't see anything. That thing becomes your world. Have you ever had that experience where that thought, it just takes over your life, and then you become mad, you become guilty, you become there, and it just agitates you. But right in the first instance, so that's the meaning of keeping a track of your thoughts, being self-honest. See the thought, they say, okay, I just had a very sexual thought, or I had a very angry thought, or I had a very, but that thought is not me. Bye! And the more and more you do that, the more you begin to have an experience of love within yourself.
So you're saying when you're like saying, find me a spot on your foot or whatever, you remove it. Basically what you're doing is removing the distractions that would you would focus
You don't identify yourself with that.
Right.
That's it. So you have a spot. You are not the spot, as I said. So your toe is crooked, but you're not crooked. But what we say, when I have a bad thought, we say, I'm bad. So you're not bad because you had a bad thought. What you had? You had a thought. You called it bad, you nut. Stop calling any thought good, bad, right, wrong. Don't judge your thought. Imagine the innocence that will then fill you, where you're not like okay, this is good, this is bad. That is good, this is bad. Oh my gosh. So the bad is outweighing the good. I'm bad. I have to go for confession and tell all these things. I hope I don't forget now to give it. And then you come, you make a mess of it, and then you can, Father, I don't know when was the last time I sinned, but the usual sins I did, and I can't remember them. End of story. End of story. So, yes.
But if you judge a thought as bad, as gossip or complaining, and you judge and you evaluate it as not healthy to keep that thought going or share it with somebody.
Exactly.
So there's also a time when evaluation is beneficial.
Yeah. To a certain extent. But then after some time, don't even give it the energy of evaluation. Why you want to evaluate? Let it go. Let it go. It's there. You remain innocent of that.
So the concept of disease, some people would say, we are not at ease with ourselves, so we become diseased. So can we then heal ourselves? I mean, people talk all the time, we can heal ourselves if we change our way of thinking and what we attract into ourselves, so we're not diseased. We become more at ease in our own skin.
Same thing here.
But so can we, if someone who gets, or we know everyone sitting here knows somebody who's very sick, for example. So could that person conceivably, realistically, if they did this, could they heal themselves?
No.
They couldn't.
No. No, ask me why. Because we do not know whether that person has somehow asked for that disease.
Right.
We don't know.
So they may have asked for it.
They may have, and 90% of people, they ask. Somewhere along the line, they ask. The lessons I gave you before we were born, we asked to have certain experiences, and those experiences now are coming to us. And as we come in this world, we confirm that we want it, we want it, we want it. Then it comes. So the thing is to look at these persons, give them all the help they want, because they are on their journey, and that illness is a part of their journey. help them on their journey. Don't help them get out of the illness. Let's say, I'm with you. I have also suffered a lot of sicknesses. How can I ease your pain? Is there something I can do to ease your pain? And so here we come to one soul who has purified herself and is able to light the light in the other soul, so that that soul then finds that this is part of my journey and I'm willing to go. It is a great experience. I've learned such a lot in my 5 or 6 years in the VA. People come to the VA, they come as disgruntled people, they hate the place, they think their families have rejected them because they know the only way out from the VA is in a coffin. So, but then after some time, 1 year passed, 2 years passed, they get into the mold and they begin talking. I go and visit them once a week, and then sometimes they smile. Father, you know what? I was thinking yesterday, isn't this a good time for me to die? I said, why is this a good time? Because now I feel like a child. Everything is done for me. Even my bum is wiped by somebody else, and this is that, and I'm so free and innocent. I feel like dying. So I sometimes I kissed them on the head, and I said, I wish you goodbye. So that is the journey that they are going. Very often we make a mess of their journey because of the way we think. We have to begin to think not of us going to heaven. But we have to think of ourselves as bringing heaven to her. And this can only be done when you're thoroughly honest and there's nothing left in you. Then you're perfectly heaven incarnate. And so to everyone you go, you take the heaven of yourself to them. That's the life we are called? We are not called to go to heaven. Come on. We are called to bring heaven to this earth. And the discovery of that is this self-honesty, which develops into silence. The silence of a mind that has given itself up to you. After some time, the mind will give you all the thoughts. And when you say stop, the mind will stop. And when you say start, the mind will start. The mind will become your slave. The mind will become, your emotions will become your slave. And that's the whole idea. No more will you be driven by your mind and emotions. But you will drive them. That's the thing we are called to do. So I choose to be, that's why they say, but Jesus got angry. Yeah, he chose to be angry. He did not get angry. The anger did not drive him. But he said, this is the time to get angry with these people, and I'm going to show it what it means to be angry. You had a question somewhere? Yeah.
So it's almost like helping them on their journey instead of trying to fix their, and say,
Fix their journey,
you're going to get better again.
No,
you know, 'cause,
no.
Yeah.
You can say, but if it is false, don't say.
Right.
Don't say. Because what would you say to a person? You're going to get better again, and that person says, person is truth. No, I don't want to get better. Father, I want to die today.
Yeah, because
Last week there was a person who came and she said, a certain lady, there's nobody here, certain lady called Grace Hamilton. I did the Friday Mass there, and after the Mass, one of my volunteers, I have 3 or 4 volunteers. You might be knowing, I was searching for you. Grace Hamilton. Yeah. You know Grace Hamilton. So after the Mass, I went and I said, Grace, because I didn't have the holy oil, I had to go to my car, bring the holy oil and come. So I went and I sat down with her, and she was going. I said, okay, Grace, I'm come here, Father Nelson. I didn't see you at the Mass, but it doesn't matter because maybe you're already celebrating Mass somewhere else. And just to tell you that we all love you, this and that. And she opened one eye and says, don't bother saying all that.
Oh.
Yeah. She's saying, don't try to comfort me. I want to go. I want to go. Don't make me now pause a while and listen to you. I don't want to listen to you. Please, you come to give me, let me go, put the holy oil and you go. I'm ready to go. And I gave her the anointing and everything. And I left the place. Within 4 hours, she died.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
wow.
These are experiences where you get so much of spirituality from these people who just say, it's over now. I want to go now. You don't waste my time. every moment here on earth is a pain. I want to go. And people have done that, yeah.
My mom was very sick, and she was saying to me, "Am I going to be okay?"
Hmm.
And I said, "One way or another, you're going to be okay."
Okay.
You know, and that's the best.
Yeah.
I didn't want to lie to her. So,
Yes, correct.
yeah.
No lying.
Yeah.
Never tell lies to anybody, even the dying person. You comfort them with the truth.
Wow.
So with this clearing of your thoughts and emotions and living a perfectly honest life, honest with in this sense, okay? I'm not talking honest means you go and pay the cashier $15 instead of paying 16. I don't mean that.
She was very young.
So here you are. Now, at this place where you are, you have emotions, thoughts, and all. They are driving you. At a certain moment, you begin to drive your emotions and your thoughts because of your self-honesty. And as you practice the self-honesty, you rise higher and higher and higher because the weight of this is removed. And you begin to be more and more innocent and more captured by love. And then that is the meaning of sitting at the right hand of the Father. And Christ went and now he sits at the right hand of the Father because he rose from the dead, he did the ascension. So we have to do in self-honesty is where you practice the ascension. You become lighter and lighter and go higher and higher. And there you are, perfectly innocent and perfectly in love, sitting at the right hand of the Father. So anybody who wants to sit at the right hand of the Father, just be honest with your mind, with your thoughts, with your emotions. Now, there are again some thoughts or some exercise. One exercise I'm going to give you, which we are going to do right now. So, these are the points that are there. In your evaluation and your being honest, everyone can see? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. What do I need to let go of? So what do I need to let go of? First one. Do I need to let go of a certain attraction? Do I need to let go of a certain memory? Do I have to let go of a deceptive kind of life that I have? Do I have to let go of this thought that comes over and over again? What do I really have to let go of? What am I clinging to as a great component of my personality? And if I drop that component of my personality, I'll become another being. And I'm afraid of that. I want to be myself. So what is that? What do I need to let go of? These questions now you will do it for a week or two, every day asking the same questions and going deeper into the same question. Every day you ask the question, you'll go deeper. Second question is, how deep can my self-honesty go? How deep? Am I only going to scratch the something off, or am I going to take a microscope and tweak something off, or am I going to clean it up, or am I going to use Dove soap, or am I going to use kitchen soap? I do not know. How deep can my self-honesty go? Are you afraid to be honest with yourself? And this is a great self-cleansing process. To be totally honest with yourself is to be able, and this is to be able to sit in silence and take the breath in and allow the breath to go out. And as the breath in and breath is going out, a thought comes. Are you able to let that thought go without judgment, condemnation, opinion, nothing, and smile at it? So I'm changing all the things now for you. You are going to smile at every thought as if it is your best friend and not get rid of it by judging it and condemning it and kicking it on the butt the whole time. No. You are going to see that thought. You're going to smile at it. And in your smile, it's like, you meet a long lost friend, and at the end of the meeting, what do you say? Bye. But there's no hatred. There is time for us to part. So with every thought that comes into your mind, are you ready to say that? Time for us to part. I can smile at you and say, see you later. You're my friend. How are you doing? Okay. Third question. How wide can my compassion for life spread? How wide? How many people can you include in your compassion? Can you be compassionate to the ISIS? Can you be compassionate to the Syrians? Can you be compassionate to your neighbor? Can you be compassionate to your son, daughter? Can you be compassionate to your husband? Can you be compassionate to animals? Can you be compassionate to trees? I do not know. How deep can your compassion go? You don't have to practice it. Just ask the questions and live with the questions. Then life will provide you with opportunities to prove to yourself what you have said to yourself. And those opportunities, you don't have to search for them. It will come. Life will give you the chances to prove to yourself what you have already accepted as part of your life. What actions am I actually taking in this world? So, what action? That means, how am I living my life in perfect self-honesty? Now, as you begin taking these things into your heart and begin to live in perfect self-honesty, you will, begin to appreciate why others are dishonest. Because you have been dishonest for a long time with yourself. And so you'll not poke and say, that guy is dishonest, that's a sham, she's a hypocrite. You'll tell yourself, there goes me. But for the grace of God, I am now somewhere else. And that is called, what actions am I actually taking in this world? How do you see people in this world? How do you deal with the thieves and scammers and child abusers and all that? How do you deal? Or is your mind saying that is wrong, that is right, he is good, he is bad? Or are you just out and saying life has brought her to where she is? Thanks be to God. Life has brought him to where he is. He is on his journey. I am not here to say he's bad and she's evil. No, because I have seen myself. And that's called, and this brings about so much love for the other person because you have now begun to love yourself as never before. You have now begun to see yourself as perfectly innocent, but for something or the other. And these people have not gone for a spirituality course. Thank God we had one in Croton and Hudson. I did it. Yeah. No, so that's a great thing that we are in this whole environment. The next question is, what am I defending? Oh, that's a biggie. Biggie. What am I defending? Am I defending my honor? Am I defending my reputation? Am I defending my my country? Am I defending my culture? Am I defending my race? Am I defending my opinions? Am I defending my judgment? Am I defending? And how do I know whether I'm defending or not? You will know at once because you will keep on gossiping about other people's mistakes till the cows come home. The more you gossip about other people's mistakes, is you have not been honest with yourself. So that is why Jesus was so honest with himself. He could go to the sinner and says, let's have dinner. He looked at Matthew, the great tax collector who was a scammer. Scammer! And he said, Matthew, bye, come. Drop the money. Come after me. To a scammer. One of his greatest apostles was a murderer. You know who? Saint Paul. The greatest, he's the foundation of the church. The church is founded on Peter and Paul. Paul was the apostle to the Gentiles. Peter was the apostle to the Jews. And within them, they spread the thing. But who was Paul? Paul began his life as a murderer. How many Christians he killed? He was like Antichrist. And so Christ still, in his own innocence, in his own self-honesty, looked at Paul and he says, okay, Paul, I want you to do some work for me. And Paul fell down from the horse. And that was the whole story of his conversion. Are we therefore in the position where I can take my innocence here and not fear about what she does or what she does not do or how she reacts? No fear at all. And that's the meaning of, so I come to you with my light, I come to you with my self-honesty, and in the bargain, if you strike me on the right cheek, I will turn my left, so that my light is transferred to you. And that's the meaning of what Christ said. When someone strikes you on the right cheek, offer even your left. Now you get the full depth of those words that Christ said. So, let's say again what happened, the story of Mother Teresa. So she found one very, very undernourished girl, so much. And she didn't know what to do because she didn't have money. So she went to the nearest deli that was there. In India, we don't have deli. We call them bakeries. So she went to the nearest deli and she says, and that was owned by a Hindu. And he saw Mother Teresa and she says, I don't want anything but this child. Can you give a piece of bread for this child? And he spat on Mother Teresa, saying, you asking me to feed this? No, the child deserves it. That's a karma. And you women are spoiling our religion and all of that. And again he spat on her. And she wiped it off and told him, you can spit on me 10 times more, but please give her the bread. That is called taking the light. You think that didn't have an effect on that man, turning the left cheek over and over again, accepting that thing and saying, do what you like with me, but give that child a piece of loaf. Can we therefore be like that So we have people in this world who have attained the deep self-honesty with themselves that is then transferred into love and transferred into innocence. And I met Mother Teresa 2 or 3 times. The innocence was radiant. She was like always, hello, Father Nelson. So her hand and my hand. So I'm here and she's here. I have to bring my hand over. So that is the innocence of this lady. Somebody from the USA send a few $1,000s to Mother Teresa as a gift for her work. And in the meantime, halfway through, somebody in the Indian government stole the whole money.
Oh.
So she heard that it was stolen, and a reporter went and told, Mother, we all heard this, that, so much, 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000, I do not know. That sum was did it bother you? Do you want to go to the press or something? He says, no, he said, somebody needed it more than me. End of story. So they took it. And then in her talk with the sisters and all, she told them, God sent it, and He sent it to that person. I thought He sent it to me, so I made a mistake. Actually, He sent it to him. Can we see? So she took it as the will of God, and she didn't call that person a thief or a robber or something like that. She's saying God sent it to him. He took it. No condemnation, no judgment whatsoever. We have 2 more questions to go. What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? And I gave you the hint last time. What am I afraid of? To take up the phone and phone to some unknown person. What am I afraid of? To take a flower and give it to some unknown person. What am I defending? What am I afraid of?
Just afraid to do that.
Yeah, correct. So can you see that? So, but you have to confront. I'm not asking you to do it. I'm asking you to confront that question. And maybe I got only this because it is in the class. But you all might be having in your own life so many things which you wish that you should have done, but something held you back. Something held you back. So many possibilities in this world do not become a reality. They only remain a possibility because somebody somewhere is afraid to move, is afraid to make a decision, is afraid to break out from the prison that they have put themselves in, is afraid to be honest with themselves and say, I have made a prison for myself and I don't know how the bloody hell I'm going to get out of it. But you have to admit to yourself, that is called self-honesty in depth. Ask yourself, what is the prison you have made for yourself and what is each structure of the prison there? Loneliness, lack of appreciation, condemnation by others, abuse by uncle or aunt, and all these things I've made myself immovable and I think I'm secure. Just by saying that, then you'll say, now let me live without this self-honesty. Let me remove this bar. Let me remove this bar. Let me remove this bar. So, in perfect honesty is your freedom. Am I willing to become so powerful, a conduit for Christ, that I take on responsibility to do all that it takes? So today is your chance to make a decision. I have decided to be a conduit of God's love. What are you doing? I'm doing nothing. Why? Because God is doing all things through me. Have you decided that? To allow God to do all things through me, and you, just by saying I'm doing nothing, you become convinced that you're really doing nothing, and then you wait. So these words are not just words for the sake of words. These are the words that sink inside and produce the fruit. What are you doing? How are you doing? I'm doing nothing. Over and over again you say, You get a kind of a peace, you get a kind of a joy, you get a kind of a emptiness, so that the love of God can fill it up. And then you begin to see God working through you. How much are you willing to allow God to work for you, work through you, and take responsibility for that? Are you ready to be aware of all the doors that is opening for you to step in, and all the doors that is closing to you? Or have you decided, I want to go in this direction and I'm going to break my head on that wall till the wall breaks? Or are you ready to say, this door seems easier, and I think I'm a better person by going through this door. Looks like it will not work as much as I think that door will work. Are you willing to do that and say, I am going to go through the door that God wants me, by asking these questions? So in self-honesty, you begin to listen, you begin to be deaf to the voice of the ego. And you begin to listen only to the voice of the Holy Spirit. Your decision is yours. So for the next 2-3 weeks and all, live with these questions, and then make a line, as I said last week, and write the thoughts. And then you write at the thought, this is a good thought, and that's a bad thought. This is a right thought, this is a wrong thought. This is a virtuous thought, this is an evil thought. Just write it there. Do nothing about it. Just write it there every day. Every day. And I guarantee you, after doing this exercise for 6 days, you will eliminate this. Was it a good thought? I don't know. Was it a bad thought? I don't know. Was it an evil thought? When you come to that in sincerity, because you're doing it within yourselves, so don't bluff yourself. In sincerity, if these lines come, then you can say, I've done this exercise well. Okay, any more questions? We're going to the next part. Okay. So here we are talking of voice of the ego, which is the voice of the self. We are talking voice of the Holy Spirit, which is the voice of the self. Both these voices live in you. You're well aware of that. So I'll not go into the depths of that. Both these voices are in you. The voice of the ego and voice of the self. What you're doing here is you are examining, or you're casting light on the voice of the ego. Because only the ego will have thoughts. Your conscious self with God has no thoughts. It has only one thought. God is love, and I am love, and that's all. Only one thought. God is love. Finished. And this one has a million thoughts. So once you begin to take out this stigma from these thoughts, so you have therefore a self. Constantly at the end of the day, or maybe at the end of 2 days or 3 days, whenever it's good for you, let this self sit down in front of this self. And this is what in Catholic life we call the Sacrament of Reconciliation. This is yourself. And this is the Holy Spirit, God, listening to you, to the self, which says, these are the thoughts that pass through me. These are the emotions that pass through me. These are the actions that happen through me. And God will say, I know you. For everything you say, the only answer is, you're my son, you're my daughter. This day I have begotten you. That is the meaning of the Sacrament of Reconciliation. To listen to your higher self saying over and over again, you're my son, this day I have begotten you. Okay, but I had that thought. So yourself is telling the higher self. This is now, only in Catholic life is this made into a sacrament, and a symbol is given. You are the small self standing in front of the big self. So you can practice it by doing it yourself, standing in front of your Holy Spirit. You're the temple of God, and speaking to that and say, today these thoughts stand out in me, and I'm going to tell you what they are. And you know why I'm telling you what they are? Because I love to listen to you saying, you're my beloved child, nonetheless. Nonetheless, you're my beloved child. Do you need to go to heaven to hear God saying, you're my beloved child? He's saying it always. So, here we go. The priest is a representative symbol. It is a symbol of their own privacy, telling the truth to the higher self. And Christ's mind will say, beloved child, you are forgiven already. You are my child in whom I am well pleased. Okay. When you are not honest, so you're not when you are not honest as we are right now, because you have not done this lesson. Some extent we are honest, some extent we are not. So dishonesty these are the gifts of leading a dishonest life. If you're dishonest with yourself, you can never be honest with another person. Period. So therefore, so much of our relationship is shrouded in dishonesty. Even from the greatest partners we live with, there are some things that are shrouded unless we decide to go the previous route. I will be honest, self-honesty, and I will practice that. In that, the relationship therefore blooms and blossoms and becomes a light to the world. So every relationship becomes a light to the world because you are transferring, as we had a discussion about illness and disease, you are now transferring yourself and offering the light that you are and seeing the reflection in the relationship that you have, whether with your child or uncle or father or mother or a friend or your boss and anyone. So your relationship will all take another turn. And another thing that will happen in this relationships that are honest. If it is dishonest, you will cling to that relationship, come what may. I feel bad. How can I dump my mother? No. It's not the right thing. So you go into that. I've been living with this woman or with this man. It's a pain. And the time has come, I think, to give him up or give. But I cannot give him up. I'm so frightened to do that. So dishonesty. When a time comes, and in most of our relationship, a time comes when A has to go on his journey and B has to go on her journey, or his or her. So he has to go. They both part ways in love. And no clinging. You have been with me so long and you're giving me up. Yeah, I think it's over. Now you go on your journey. I still love you. I don't hate you. Nothing. but it looks like a journey has come to an end, and it's better that you go. And in that, there is freedom. In dishonest relationship, there is always a captivity. Always a captive. One of the parties is a captor, the other one is a captive. And therefore, in that relationship of captor and captive comes resentment. Comes deep resentment.
On News 12 today, and I think a couple of weeks ago, this one police officer divorced his wife, or they were estranged, and he went and shot her.
Yeah, see. So that's why. So he didn't
It's
want the
just
journey to be over.
Yeah,
He wanted her to continue the journey. So
very sad.
yeah, so that's the way life goes. So in dishonest relationship, it is full of tension. It is full of frustration. It is full of broken expectation. Of course, there are the valid points also. I'm not bringing them out. I'm not saying it's only this. There are other things that keep you going. But in dishonesty, this is what is there. In honest relationship, this thing doesn't have a ground to stand on. So, prefer therefore to be yourself, deep honesty. Because if you practice this lesson that I gave you and practice self-honesty, this will happen automatically. You will find again, as you might have already found, your best friends or your relatives and all, finding it like weird, something wrong with you. And you yourself finding, I don't fit in this crowd anymore. It's time. The radical thing that it will begin by distancing your relationship, not only with human beings, but it will start by distancing your relationship with things. You'll allow things to move out. You'll allow Land's End's clothes to be thrown out. You will allow something to move. You will allow something to move. And you'll just drop it and put it there for the homeless or something like that. Then you will drop your attachments to events. Okay, I would love to go for the Broadway show, but it doesn't matter. You will not give it up. You will find yourself having a distaste for that. Okay, I've been there, done that. Now that part of my journey is over. Let's go to the next step. And that's how you move on. So honesty and dishonesty goes away in your whole life. And this dishonesty also makes you sick. Okay. The one who is perfectly honest is the one who becomes meek of heart. Becomes meek of heart. And that is what is the second beatitude. Blessed are the meek of heart, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek of heart. So when you're honest, you become meek. When you become meek, you turn the left cheek when your right cheek is struck. When you become meek, you now become vulnerable. Why? Because you become trustful of everyone. You become vulnerable because you begin to allow things and people to be as they are. You're not fixing anyone. You become the one who shows the way, whether they listen or not. But the greatest mark of the one who's meek is vulnerability. And if there was someone who was vulnerable, again to the highest degree, again it was Jesus Christ. He became vulnerable. He allowed us to throw our sins on him. Yeah.
Without going into too much detail, because many of the people sitting here remember Elizabeth, I was with her about 2 weeks ago. I met with her in Peekskill. And because you mentioned vulnerable, I really felt like I had a reason for meeting with her. I wanted to find out more. I was fascinated by her situation. And I was really so taken with what was going on because she told me I have to get out of the apartment. I don't know where I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go to an Airbnb in Manhattan. I won't go into I shouldn't divulge too much, but I started to feel so vulnerable and so guilty that I thought about opening my house and saying, come to my house. And I didn't at that moment, but I did stay in touch with her after. And when I got home, all these questions started coming, and I'm like, I don't really know her. People were saying to me, did you do a background check? And the world started falling in. Like, how could I let this perfect stranger come into my house? And all the thoughts. And I felt really like so dishonest that I wasn't living this being honest and being like the face of Christ to somebody who needed something from me. And she never asked if she could come to my house. But I felt very guilty. I felt sad. But she is safe. She is in New York. But I still felt like I didn't go the extra mile for this person.
That is called being vulnerable.
But in my very short-lived real estate career, I was really taken advantage of by people because they just saw me as somebody who's just going to do for them. That's it. So I thought I have to put up. I can't let this happen. I have to I have to watch out because if I really extend too much, something could happen. And so I felt very bad, and I feel that I didn't go the extra mile, that I maybe should have listened and just been, the Christian face to her, and yet, all the thoughts started coming in, like, are you crazy? You don't even know this person.
Yeah.
But so I feel good that she is where she is, and she's, as everybody knows.
But she taught you a lesson. She taught you she taught you to ponder on your dishonesty. That's a great thing that you did. Maybe that encounter was made for you to find out like how deeply yourself is dishonest with yourself.
Yeah,
Today she had a nice encounter. You can tell them of her vulnerability.
I went to Dunkin' Donuts just to pick this up before I came to class. And I was leaving, and this woman was coming in, and she was crying, and she's, but I didn't see it right away. She was going to open the door for me, and then she started crying a little bit when I got closer, and she said, I have no money, and I ran out of gas and things like that, and I don't know what to do. And then she was mumbling something else about a surgery or whatever, and I just felt a big need to help her somehow. So I said, okay, let's go to the gas station, see if we can get some gas or something. Maybe they have a gas can there or something. And so then she said, well, there's somebody who can bring the gas to me, but I have no money. So I went to Chase, got some money and brought it to her. And I was upset before then about something totally different. And all of a sudden that just totally went away, because I helped her. So I was like, wow, it's just funny how.
Let me put a caveat here.
Yeah.
Don't help everybody.
Right.
So wait, let me go deep. You're not here.
You've said
You're
that
not
before,
here.
Father.
You're not here to save the world. But in events where you see or perceive through the Holy Spirit in you a door opening, then help that person. So that is where you becoming a conduit for God. So God is telling you, now you help, and that's why you went out of your way and you felt good about it.
Yeah, I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Right thing to
and
do.
I said, I can't leave her like this.
So,
because I have to go to class.
Because if it was not the right thing to do, you would have felt bad with yourself. Maybe she cheated me. Maybe she did this. Maybe she did that. So it was happening in my life because I come from a third world country where everybody is a cheater. so yeah, it's true. Everybody is there to suck you and somewhere or the other. because of the extreme poverty. So there's no friendship, every friendship is also linked with money. So even when I came here, I was of the same thing. Like people are out to get me because they're all cheaters. Everybody is a cheater. Till I got into my own spiritual life, and I said, first of all, you're teaching others not to judge, and you have a constant self-honesty. You have a constant window. You have a big door which says, "I hate cheaters. People are taking advantage of me." Blah blah blah. So I withdrew judgment. I withdrew judgment. And then I said, "Now how do I know God? How do I know who is not?" So then he said, "I will lead you to those I want you to help." And it has been a driving force in my life for the past 9 years. A driving force. I will lead you to those whom I need you to help. And even my VA trip, he led me. I did not ask for that job. So everywhere, I only go where I am led. And that is a great source of peace, happiness, bliss, joy, everything combined.
After I brought, the money, she saw me driving back up. I think she was surprised or whatever. She was in the parking lot. And so then I just went up to her and I hugged her and I said, God, if whatever she's going to use this for, just,
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just said, bless you. And she said the same thing. So,
Yeah. Correct.
So
So
you
that's
just
how.
trust.
So it becomes like that. So maybe
Eleanor?
maybe 6 months ago, while getting into Food Town, there was a car on the opposite side of the parking lot, and my car came here and just scratched. You could not even see the scratch. But that guy, his name was Norman, made such a big noise, saying you couldn't see, blah blah blah. I said, okay. I said, see, let's start. My fault. Anything more you have to say? No. So you accept it's your fault? Yeah, I'm not here for a fight. It's my fault. Even if you banged me, I'm not going to fight with you. I'm just going to say it's my fault. So he said, then you want to call the cops or something? I said, no, I will pay for it. So he's saying, why are you doing all this? He's saying, because this is what makes me meet you and know you as a great person that God wants me to meet right now. And so we went to Ossining, put the car in a garage, got the price, got to the insurance company, and blah blah blah, all that. And then Norman came, shook my hand, and he said, "I'll always think of you as a friend." Saying that is why I took the blame on me. So what does it matter for the money or for the car or for anything? What matters is Norman will remember me as his friend, and I will remember. And I still know, I forget names very easily. Yeah, but I remember his name till today. Norman said, "Bye, we go as friends." Yeah, I said. So that's called being honest, and living out that honesty in a brutal form. Nothing
We have
else.
to hear what Eleanor has to say.
Okay, Anna.
No, it's okay. I just had a question about honesty and dishonesty, and what's alarming to me is I would hope that honesty brought honesty in another person, right?
It will.
What happens with me often is I'm honest enough to know that my honesty will make a relationship break. So I become dishonest.
Correct. So,
And so
yeah.
This is a sort of a constant loop that since our class I'm extremely painfully aware of.
yeah.
So in your experience, Father, when you're bringing honesty to a relationship which has the elements of non-judgment, et cetera, sort of what percentage of people decide, I'm so not going to be around you, Father? What percentage says, yeah, I can be in relationship with you, being dishonest?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The thing behind it,
Huh? They
Is-
all go away. Is that what you're saying?
The thing behind it is not honesty or dishonesty. The thing behind it is the decision that you take, does it bring peace to you?
Okay.
The decision that you take, do you believe it is God opening a door in this direction and closing another door? And that, then you say, okay, if the Father wants me to put my foot this way, I put it. If He wants me to put my foot that way, I can put it. If He wants me to put both the foot, I will put both my feet and go where He is leading me. So here comes the voice of the ego or the voice of the Holy Spirit. The voice of the ego will always bring chaos, will always bring confusion, will always take you on a loop round and round, will lead you nowhere, and you're going nowhere, you're reaching nowhere, and then you're back in the same loop again. But this one will take you in a definite direction, in its own style, in its own way, and in its own manner. You'll be led like the sheep on the shoulders of the shepherd, and you don't know where the shepherd is taking you. You know that he's taking you home. Okay, for today the lessons are over. Thank you, Father. Bye.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Oh my gosh, you have 14 minutes left.
Oh, no.
Okay, how do you put this off?
Hold on, thank you so much. I will keep it for a while and then we'll pass it.
Such a face.